Chapter 6. All dreams must die to be born again, renewed. Ziton had drool hanging from his lip, his eyes rolled up into his head but moving erratically, out of sync with each other. His door chime alerts him that someone is at the door. He drools on, ignorant of the sound. Something slams into his front door in the next room over. Startled, Ziton falls out of his anti-grav chair, trying to focus his eyes.
And I was having such a lovely time too. Who's ruining my daily ritual?
He asks the room.
2 young men are at your front door,
His assistant AI informs him. Ziton scoffs.
I told you before not to tease me like that. I'm not falling for that again.
Fine, they look like they are going to break down the door anyway,
the AI says. Ziton scrambles up and into the next room, opening the door just before Matt kicks it in. Rhys, Matt, and Ziton stand there, staring at each other for a moment. Ziton blinks rapidly, looking them both up and down.
What can I do for you, fine young gentleman?
Matt clears his throat. We are looking for Ziton. Do you? Ziton rolls his eyes.
Who put you up to this? It was that bastard Vivix, wasn't it?
Rhys and Matt look at each other. Rhys steps forward.
I assume that you are Ziton. Have you recently discovered a castle, perchance? We believe our friend might be there.
Ziton stares at Rhys without blinking a second, then angrily says,
I don't care who sent you, or how beautiful you are. Leave me alone.
Matt stops the door by grabbing it, shoving the stone artifact in his face.
You better help us. If you have done anything to Kim, I swear I will kill you.
Ziton's eyes widen in shock, looking from him to the artifact.
What? What? Wait, who? Where did you get that?
His jaw drops open as he recognizes the symbols on it.
That's the key. How did you get it?
He reaches out to grab it, but Matt keeps it out of his reach.
Is it the key to the castle where Kim is?
Matt demands. Ziton looks from Matt to Rhys and realizes they aren't going to give the key to him without receiving information first.
I don't know who this Kim is, but we need that key out of the open. Please come inside so I can answer what questions I can.
Ziton says, gesturing for them to follow him inside. They eye him suspiciously, exchange looks with each other, and then move inside. Artifacts, books, and a strange assortment of unknown items surround them as they follow Ziton into his living room. He sits down in the only open chair.
I apologize for the mess. I became frustrated with my life's work being put on hold from want of the key you hold in your hand. I invested all of my fortune into finding that castle, only to find no way inside other than with that missing key. The castle is constructed from an unknown ore not found on our Earth. The hypothesis I have is that it came from a large meteor that crashed here long ago.
Where is this castle? Rhys inquires.
How did you even find out about it?
Ziton asks in return. Matt looks to the side, eyes running over a particularly exotic artifact. A stranger gave it to me and told me to seek you out. Also that you would take me to the castle where my girlfriend is held. Ziton looks at him in disbelief.
There's no way your girlfriend could be there. It would be impossible.
Matt glares at Ziton.
Right now, it is the only chance I have to find her. You must take us there.
At this moment, there is a knock upon the door. Ziton looks between them anxiously.
You didn't happen to have more friends coming, did you?
His house AI answers instead.
I'm afraid Romaine is at the door, sir.
Ziton's face goes white.
Tell him I'm not home.
I'm sorry, sir, but my protocols are being overridden.
The three hear the front door open. Footsteps sound upon the wooden floor, and 2 men in light, flexible body armor around the corner into the living room. They eye the 2 young men in Ziton intensely. then stepping aside for an elderly man to walk forward towards Ziton with a smile upon his face.
Ah, Ziton, my bi-gendered friend. I hear you have found the key to Milesoneros.
Ziton stammers, visibly upset.
How could you possibly know that?
Romaine turns to look at Matt and Rhys.
So whom are these young gentlemen that have brought you such a rare treasure? Not your new lovers, I'm sure.
He laughs, looking back at Ziton.
Of course, they can come along with us to the castle. I don't mind.
Rhys frowns deeply, and Matt steps forth angrily.
What do you mean? Who the hell are you?
Ziton puts his hands up, shaking his head side to side at Matt. Romaine laughs.
I'm surprised you don't know who I am. How is it you came across the key? You two don't seem like archaeologists. But never mind that. I am the only way you two...
He pauses to look back at Ziton with a smirk.
3 are going to get there. It is a very expensive expedition, far beyond Ziton's current financial abilities.
Matt looks at Ziton and asks,
Is this true?
Ziton looks back and forth between them and then sighs defeated.
I'm afraid so, boys.
Matt looks at Romaine. When do we leave? Romaine's eyes widen a little, and he smiles.
Well, well, aren't we the impatient one? We leave tomorrow. You 3 will accompany me to my hotel, where I will provide for your immediate needs and prepare us for our journey.
With having spoken, Romaine twirls his cane around one hand and walks out. The 2 guards motion Rhys, Matt, and Ziton to follow. They do so, following them outside to get in the fanciest vehicle they'd ever seen. They are then driven to the center of Chrysalis, and they can't help but gaze in awe at all the expensive architecture around them. Upon arriving at the Anguis Hotel, owned by Romaine, they are each shown to their separate rooms. As the door closes behind the Anguis Hotel employee, Matt forgets for a moment the problems of life, looking in wonder at the suite that had more space and decorations than his whole house. He turns to see Kim's reaction to it. And then, like a silent terror of the night, images of Kim's disappearance flood his mind. Darkness closes upon his mind and claws squeeze his heart. The thoughts of giving up stab him in absolute despair.
What if we don't get to her in time? What if she's already dead?
He says aloud. Forcing himself to get ready for bed, he removes his boots, clothes, and the overblankets from the bed. Climbing into the large bed, he commands the room AI to turn off the lights and closes his eyes, praying for sleep. Unfortunately, sleep is no escape for his mind on this night. Out of the darkness, sparkles of light shift and flow to then subside back into that black abyss. Shapes start to take form and then interchange, worlds appearing and disappearing. Voices speak and call to him, unheard yet felt. Then he finds himself in an enveloping darkness and feels himself breathing alone in silence. What is this? He thinks to himself. A door slowly opens in the distance, shining bright light into the dark just out of reach.
Come forth,
a voice says from the doorway. He feels himself floating towards the voice and the light. As he passes through the door, his eyes are greeted with strange architecture and an even stranger creature holding out their hand towards him.
I have summoned you, entity known as Six. You are bound by my 13 restrictions and are limited in your abilities.
What is your reason for summoning me? Six hears himself say.
Do you not remember me, Six?
The creature asks. It has been a long time now since we last met, Three. Six hears himself to say.
I have summoned you to warn you, Six. Our enemy of days past, thought defeated, has once again appeared.
Three pauses.
I am saddened to inform you of this, but 5 has been killed, not in the Dreamverse, but in reality, and all other Nightmare Clan members have fallen out of contact. I fear the worst. Please be careful. Achilles exists once more. Six feels his mouth open to speak, but then a dark void appears behind Three, who turns to look, then quickly begins making hand movements that are accompanied by glowing light appearing in the air in front of him. He stretches his hands out towards Six with his eyes widening in fear. "Vanish!" Three says as a dark energy form, filled with many faces, latches onto him from behind, smiling a sinister set of smiles. The entity whispers, "Three," in a pleased voice. Everything fades once more to darkness as Six is banished back through the doorway behind him. Gaining his abilities back, he cries out into the abyss, "Wait!" stretching his hand out towards where he last perceived the door to be. Only empty silence greets him. Matt wakes up, and it's still night outside. Forgotten, faded memories of his childhood dreams rise to the surface in his mind. He finds his right arm still stretched out, reaching for the ceiling.